it's Chad Eckert, Fantasy Golf Pod, coming to you another edition. This one, I was supposed to talk to Moose from Fantasy National, and I have not had him log in yet. He's about to log in, I'm sure. So I thought, why not? Just since Fantasy National, run by Moose, is a site that we are proud partners with, I could just show you a little bit of their homepage. I mean, there's no golf going on right now. It's currently Wednesday, March 25th in the morning, and there's nothing to do. Today would be the first day of the match play. Instead, we're doing nothing. So I'm doing these interviews, and I'm trying to get people like Moose to come talk to me. It seems like the only thing we have to do at this point. Here's Fantasy National, and this site allows you to do a lot of things. You can sort by, this is the main page here. You'll be able to change pricing when there's a real event going on between round by round, between DraftKings and FanDuel, blah, blah, blah. There's all sorts of little things in here that you might be able to find valuable, like this past course condition, recent results, some of the history of how they've done at this tournament specifically. You've got ownership projections, lineup generator, simulator, and then there's this mixed condition model, which is awesome. And I'm going to run you through some of this stuff. And when Moose comes on, maybe we can chat with him. So this is, just start with the main basic stats that PGA pretty much puts on. There you go. Strokes gained total over the last, this default over here. You can see strokes gained view. There's different types of options here. And you can do sample size. You can go as low as the last 4 rounds, or you can do all rounds in this system, which I believe is all the way back to 2012. Oh, Moose is on his way in, so whatever. He just texted me. Anyway, this is just the site for, what is this, like $20 a month? You can have access to this information, which is really valuable and really helpful, and actually something that Eric and I use on a weekly basis. You can do stuff by relative to par, if it's an easy course, hard course, how people do on different style courses, greens and grass. That's an important factor in fantasy golf and in anything when predicting things. People are better at bent grass or Bermuda or POA. I'm over here on the left side. This is something that you can look into if you're trying to get more specific. They have actual green firmness, fairway hitting the fairway, whether it's easy or hard. Some courses allow for anyone to get in the fairway. Sometimes they don't. Looks like you have rough length, speeds of the green. They've got relative to par. You get pars. And then you can do how they are. Your course length. You got wind. You can sort by wind, or you can sort by specific designers. Of course, this is great stuff. Now, typically what I do each week is I look at past course conditions. Click this little link here. We're sorry, we have 0 stuff happening. Oh, shoot. Well, that's boring. But typically there's what people have done well on this course, like specifically with the irons. You can look at recent results, which is something I also do too. I favor recent form over course history. Both things don't really lead you to answers, but they are very helpful to trying to wean out who's been better and who's been more, just overall better at the course or overall better recently. You'll see that I post stuff each week about tournament history, how they've done here, past course history. Oh, shoot, another one that's not available. That's fine. You can look at this stuff once an active event is going on and you have access to this website. Ownership projections. What you do is you come down here and do the names of the players of the specific tournament, and you can star, and then you'll have salaries by them. And it starts adding up. You can decide, I want these guys on my roster, and you can go to ownership. You could do a lineup generator, and you could do all sorts of stuff. There's a simulator as well. Our guy, Chris Hollander, Undone RSG on Twitter, he's actually come on the pod before and talked about how great the simulator is. You got mixed condition model, which I'll show you here. If you want to do the mixed condition model, you got to add a specific stat to that model. So for example, I'll do strokes gained total. This is over the last 50 rounds. You go strokes gained total, last 50 R for rounds. You add that in. Also, let's pretend like this is a real important thing that you're good at off the tee. So you go strokes gained off the tee. add that. I want real good recent tee to green stats. That's important to me. So I'm going to go on there. I'm going to say tee to green over the last 8 rounds. Okay. Tee to green, last 8 rounds, tee to green, add. Go to the mixed condition model. Boom, bang, bing. I mean, there's all sorts of stuff on this. Oh, shoot. Is it not working? Okay, it's not working. But anyway, what it'll do is you can actually decide how much percent of each of those items that you added into your mixed condition model that you want to factor into your rankings. And then what it'll do, it'll compute power rankings. It'll give every golfer in the field, it'll rank them. Now, some of these dudes are Euro event players, and so they don't have a lot of stats, and so they'll just kind of be middling in the middle. Some of the guys have had no tournaments in the last few weeks, months, or whatever, so you kind of maybe do want to filter by time frame, last specific amount, maybe last 3 months, 6 months, whatever you decide. So that's kind of how the website that Moose Works runs, or has started, created, promoted. That is Fantasy National Golf Club. Moose!
Hey, sorry about that.
No, it's all good.
Hey, so
It
sorry.
actually gave me an opportunity, Moose, to talk about your site and share the screen and go through the site and kind of just show some of the features of your site. So that's kind of fun, right?
Right, absolutely. Are you recording right now?
I am. I'm not live by any means or anything. We're just so Moose.
Hey,
There's no sports on.
Can I go grab headphones? Can I go grab headphones so you don't get feedback?
Sure, absolutely.
Sorry about that. Okay, good deal. Sorry to make you do that.
No, oh, good. So Moose, there's no sports on. It's insane.
Oh, I know.
It's terrible. So there's nothing to do for content creators. And like I thought, well, why not bring in some heavy hitters, people in the business, some people that know stuff. Act like we're going to the range, dude. This is our forced off season. We got to get better. So I thought, what the hell? Ask Moose, one of the legends in the industry. His name is Michael Metzger.
Yeah,
he goes by the Moose. The Mooseonomics. Yeah. And you're also I mentioned this a minute ago, the founder, starter, creator of Fantasy National, a beautiful website that is very helpful. Pretty much the DFS PGA website. Everyone uses it. You are also the co-host of Nice Shots Pod, or Nice Shot Pods.
Yeah.
So how's that going
right now? It's been a lot of fun. I quit the day job at the beginning of the year. Now with coronavirus.
What was the day job? Were you like a lawyer?
Oh, it was I was a wholesale air conditioner. I was a web developer for a wholesale air conditioner place. So
gotcha. So you're like a computer nerd. That's your background?
Yeah.
Is nerdery?
Yeah, actually. Yeah, just kind of a self-taught programmer, and spreadsheets were where I started, and then I learned about macros, and then I was like, you know what? Life would be a lot easier if this was just a website. So then I learned how to build websites, and
cool.
But yeah, data management's kind of the strong suit, I guess.
Now we're trying to get to know the people behind the Twitter. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, oh, yes. So I was going to say, so then with all this free time in my hand, I thought it'd be fun to get a podcast going with some of my buds, just guys that I play golf with. We try to make it just sound like guys sitting around, like you're saying, we're on the range. We're just sitting around the clubhouse after a round. I was a little nervous to see how that would go with 4 guys on and people talking, but and we're not trying to be a pick show either. That's what Fantasy National's for, where you can go make your own picks. We're trying to have good golf conversation, talk about strategy a little bit, but none of us are pros.
We're hashtag not experts, dude. That's our shtick. No one knows anything.
Yeah.
This is predicting athlete performance.
Well, in golf especially, it's so tough because, the best guy any week can miss the cut. So
totally. Now, I'm wearing my jacket. I'm out in my garage. It's in the morning here. I'm having coffee, not beer. Where are you in the quarantine? This is Wednesday, March 25th.
Yep. Well, so
we're like neighbors.
No, where are you at? You're in Edina?
I'm in Bloomington.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, that's where I used to work. So I'm over in Chaska. I'm about maybe an 8-iron away from the 14th green at Hazletine. So I've been getting out and walking around there just a little bit. Course is starting to look nice. Excited for that to open up, so we've got something to do.
Now, you're a member at Hazletine, right?
Correct. Yep.
And
Been a
so
member
do
there
you
since.
predict that they're going to open this year, or are they going to screw everyone, or what's going on?
Well, what I think is going to happen is they're going to open it up with some sort of limited capacity. Like, I think that they're not going to allow you to take pins out. They're going to have no rakes out in the bunker. I've heard some courses are putting in like little like foam pool noodles, like in the bottom of a cup, so that the ball goes in and it only drops down like half an inch, so you don't have to touch the flag, don't have to touch anything. So I think that's where they'll go. They might limit it to threesomes. Who knows?
Okay.
But
Or everyone has to have their own cart or something?
yeah, well, we walk anyway, so that's actually even better for us. But yeah,
Sure.
so
Yeah.
how about you? How are you handling?
Oh God. Well, I've got a 3-month-old and a 3-year-old, so it's like and my kid was born in December, so I've basically been trapped for 3 months, and it's like I've been perfecting my ability to just get through the day.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Survive in advance.
Evan. Yeah. So I was going to say, if you had the 3-month-old, that's perfect because you weren't going anywhere anyways. But the 3-year-old,
it's an extra added
wrinkle into it. Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah. I got a 5 and a 6-year-old myself, so we're also kind of. My wife said famously that all this togetherness is going to kill her sooner than the coronavirus will.
Exactly.
But
Mrs. Moose.
Yes, Mrs. Moose, who's also on Twitter. You should check her out. She also runs the Instagram and Facebook, and then always asks me whenever there's a question she doesn't know the answer to. But I'm not in on the Insta or Facebook much anymore. So
yeah, my wife's obsessed with Instagram. She works for this business that she runs their Instagram account. So I've given her my realtor Instagram page, and I'm like, just go with it and do whatever.
Yeah, right. It's awesome.
But we're talking about you, Moose. We're talking about backgrounds of people in their fantasy life, and like, where did you become a fantasy guy? Now, you just went full time with this. Were you thinking that this would be your life?
No, not at all. No, not at all. So, I mean, I played fantasy football like back from the ages back when you had to look it up in the newspapers and stuff like that when I was in high school. But like I said, I joined Hazletine in 2012, and I knew the Ryder Cup was coming. And it's like outside maybe 5 guys on tour, I didn't know who anybody was. So I was like, I'll get into fantasy golf. So that way when these guys come here, I'll know who they are. Just like in fantasy football, when you play fantasy football, all of a sudden you know who the wide receiver is for the Denver Broncos. And, you know everybody on every team. So I wanted to get into that and realized that it was really hard to research golf. So I started putting together spreadsheets, especially back in the day when I was doing this. So I started putting together a spreadsheet where I'd go and I'd get all the stats from PGA Tour, allow you to kind of make some crude models and stuff like that, and post it on a forum, just going, hey, is anybody else doing something? How's everybody else researching this? And everybody's like, oh, this is awesome. And that's how the Moosonomics spreadsheet came about. Actually, Paul, who's on Nice Shot Pods with me, he has a one and done league, and I sent him the spreadsheet in the early days. He's like, what is this, some Moosonomics bullshit? That's how the name, so that's how the name stuck. Cool. So, and so ran with that for maybe 2-3 years. Started posting on the fantasy golf, then was Project Roto, and then it moved to something else. I don't remember what that was called, but then I just kind of was like, I'm going to go do this on my own. And
nice.
Yeah. So, and when I launched the site, I was just it was a test site for me. It was just easier to maintain than my spreadsheet. And I'm like, oh, we'll put this out and see if anybody else thinks this is cool. I got like 3,000 people to sign up in the first 2 months. And so the whole site was free. And I'm like, holy shit, my server costs are going through the roof. So I'm like, I should I'm going to put out this price that if I can get 20 people to join, it'll at least cover my server costs and I can still play around. And people just kept signing up. And that's how I ended up being able to leave my day job. So
that's awesome. Now, I've already gone through the site, so we don't really need to talk about like the features and things like that. I just did that tutorial ahead of this.
So I mean, it's nice to watch it.
Yeah. It's kind of frustrating that there's no golf to show as examples, but at the same time, I think you can get the idea. And it's accessible for free while this virus is ruining America, right?
It sure is. Yeah, you can just go on, sign up. It takes like 2 minutes and you can go play around, check out all the stuff. We're going to boot you about 2 weeks before golf starts back up if you're a free account, but then we'll let you know how to get back in and probably send you some sort of discounted deal. But yeah, right now we're just trying to get people in there.
Now, I'm kind of curious. This has nothing to do with DFS, but what was it like when the Ryder Cup came to Hazletine? Was that crazy,
It
or
was
was it
awesome.
annoying?
It was amazing. It was so great. Like, I mean, we're all the mission of Hazeltine is to support national championships. Like, that's when you join there, you know that these things are going to come every so often. It's not like it's an every year tour event, so we have to like give up our course every year. But when we have these big ones, you know, like the Ryder Cup or PGA Championship, you know, we're all volunteering, we're all involved. So I mean, I was there sun up till sundown every day, and
Oh wow.
I think for Ryder Cup, I worked leaderboards, which
Okay.
is such a sweet cake gig for the Ryder Cup because there's only 12 guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you're not like constantly moving things out and switching. You know, you put a board, you know, a number up every 5 minutes, and that was
And sometimes
it.
they just
I got
whole, and there's no change to the
right. Yeah,
standing.
it's just like, okay, still all square. You just change which hole they're on, and so
That's
that was
cool.
pretty simple. I got most of that done before the tournament. I did most of my volunteering during the practice round, so I could just
Cool.
walk around and stumble around, I guess would be a better way to describe it. But yeah, I mean, it was awesome. We had so much fun. We went to the Ryder Cup in Paris 2 years ago. So yeah,
Nice.
so the wife and I went out there, and yeah, it was awesome. I'm never going to miss another Ryder Cup. Hopefully
Now the
they'll be
Ryder Cup
playing-
is coming back to Minnesota. Is it 2028?
Yes, it is at Hazletine. Again, we're going to be the first site ever to host the Ryder Cup twice.
Okay. So then do they make you hit off mats, or do they do anything weird?
Yeah, well, they shut. So the Ryder Cup was in September, and I want to say at the beginning of August they switched it over to where you could only play off mats, and you'd carry around this little piece of turf. And to me, I didn't mind it at all. First of all, you only had to do it if you hit the fairway, and I don't hit too many fairways.
Right.
I'm a bomber that likes to spray it a little bit. But the other thing is that people are like, oh, I don't want to play off mats. And so the course was like completely empty. It was in perfect condition. But then we shut down the course completely for about 3.5 weeks beforehand. Oh. But on the flip side, we got to go places like Spring Hill. You know, there's a lot of reciprocity. We could go play Edina, Spring Hill, nice. Interlaken. So
cool.
Yeah, that worked out great.
Well, that's awesome. Well, so back to DFS. Now, you run a site that DFS players use to build, or not necessarily build lineups, but like just get some stats and stuff. You could generate lineups, sure. Do you play DFS, and what's your like process like?
Yeah, so I definitely play. I play about anywhere from about $60 to $120 a week, depending on how much I've had to drink when I actually go submit my lineups. But you know, I'm kind of I say I'm like a 500 player, and what I mean by that is I put in $500 at the beginning of the year. I play $60 to $120 a week, and that pretty much gets me through the year. There might be a couple times where I'm like, oh no, I'm gonna have to re-up here soon, but then I'll hit something big. You know, I pretty much only play GPPs outside of the Pat Mayo Experience Open, and I'd like to do like the 20 entry $3 or $4 one, and that's what I like to do. And then what I like to do with that is they normally have, like, let's say it's the $3, they normally have one that's got like 35,000 people in, but then on Wednesday when that one starts to fill up, they launch another one that's like a 2,500, and I like to try to get into that one.
Dude, that's what I was doing all NFL season. I was just avoiding those gigantic ones, and like the payouts are a little less in those little lesser ones, but you're competing against way fewer sharks, fewer people, combos. So yeah, I totally think that's a good stuff.
Absolutely. And like you can have a lineup that's first in that 3,000 and it's 50th in the, in the big one. So where you're making $50 in the big one, you're making 250 on the small one. You don't have a chance to win $100,000, but if you got 20 lineups in there and you got some sort of similarity, you're probably winning that 250, 75, a 50, and then probably a whole bunch of sixes down the line too. So that's the way that I like to do it. I'm not a cash guy at all. Like you said, it's a hard to guess performance. And I just think that golf's too volatile to play a single cash game. I think I like doing a three entry max. My big thing is not to make money playing. I like the enjoyment, something to root for. And So my goal is literally just to have something to pay attention to on Sunday.
Totally.
I don't want to be done on Friday.
Dude, Moose, we're doing this interview series, and I've been reaching out to people, and I am shocked at the number of people who have said yes to me and who want to come chat. But I'm not that shocked because there's nothing to do. But at the same time, I've been asking them all if they have a proud moment or what they have they ever cashed we call hashtag mega profit, where you just are shocked at what you did. Have you ever had a great moment in betting history?
I've won a GPP or two here, but again, nothing huge. I might have won $650 or maybe $800 on a lineup. I had a bunch where it was close, and then you're winning $100,000 and then you end up winning, $4. But no, I think just my proudest moment was just launching Fantasy National and
definitely. Dude, that was a hashtag mega profit for sure, my friend. Now, okay, so
not initially.
Yeah, right. Like anything,
I launched it for free and I had servers, but yes.
Oh, the technology.
Yeah.
Okay, now the last time that there was, I guess there was one round of the players, but before that, I think we had the Honda Open, Honda Classic, where there was the DFS Open in Florida, and you were there.
I was. It was awesome.
What was up?
Yeah,
with
how
that
come you
DFS
weren't there? Why weren't you there?
That dumb baby, dude, inside.
Oh yeah, that's
8 weeks old.
Fuckers, so selfish and worthless.
God, and my wife wouldn't let me leave it.
I know.
Oh no, next year, sure. But I also thought, Moose, I have an idea. Why don't we do DFS Open North?
It's a good idea.
Because almost everyone is from Minnesota, dude. It's great.
I know. Yeah, we should definitely work on something. The thing that was nice about that, and we were talking about this, is that nobody wants to travel to Minnesota in June. You know what I mean? June's the time to visit, but maybe guys down south are so sick of the heat that it'd be good.
Oh,
but,
sure.
For the most part, I think summers are so busy that I think it's going to perennially be somewhere southern, south.
Sure.
Or I wouldn't go to Chicago or something like that, I guess. I don't think, if it was there, but if it's February and I can go down to Arizona or San Diego, I'm all about that. But
now what?
Yeah, maybe we'll get something going. Maybe we'll get a real life Fantasy National Club Championship going or something.
Dude, at Hazletine?
That would be sweet.
So were there any interesting stories from the DFS Open, or is it more like what happens at the DFS Open stays at the DFS Open?
No, there's tons of fun stories. Most of them are a blur. We stayed. So I stayed with the Nice Shot Pods guys. We rented a house down there. Yeah, we did an hour long just drunk recording covering the time that we had. I'd refer people to that.
Yeah, follow you on Twitter. You have pictures of this thing. It's crazy. Your videos, what the hell? This reminds me of a carnival house. I mean, why?
It was like we called it Grandma's Baroque Palace. So what happened was I initially tried booking a room on Airbnb that was way north, and it was just this dumpy little place. It had a pool. Not that we were probably going to use it, but apparently I didn't hit confirm reservation enough, and 3 weeks before I'm checking, how come I haven't gotten my address yet? And they're like, oh, you never booked it. So this Grandma's Palace, which is filled with antiques, religious artifacts, some of which looked slightly racist, but that was the place. It was in a great location, so we're screw it, let's do that. I mean, we spent hardly any time there anyways, so that worked out great. But yeah, no, it was awesome. We had a good time. We sponsored the drink tickets. That's still one of my other prouder moves. You could have been title sponsor, or for half price, you could be the drink ticket sponsor. And I said, well, how about I just double the drink ticket sponsorship and let everybody have 4 drinks instead of 2. So that worked out pretty well too. Everybody was thankful. But that was super early in the morning. We teed off at
what was up with that? Did you do that because the rain or wind was coming, or why did you guys go off so early?
I think they wanted people to. Oh, you know what it was? It was a Saturday. And I don't think the course was really thrilled about having a charity event on Saturday.
Oh.
So that's what I think had to happen. But yeah, we were out till midnight the night before at Drive Shack, which is awesome. It's just like Top Golf, but they're almost identically. But they use TrackMans instead of whatever, the RFIDs. Yeah. So I think golfers would like Drive Shack a little bit more, but they're awesome. They're both the same.
Now, we're trying to get better at this stuff, DFS, and maybe you can't help us, and I don't really know how to help people, but at the same time, is there an important lesson or something that, like, some advice you'd give to a new? I know the advice I would give is just sign up for your freaking site and just start playing around with that.
Yeah.
You probably get a little more info on that. But at the same time,
Yeah,
what about you, like, specifically?
So to me, the big thing is ownership and roster construction. And I guess we've already covered knowing which contests you like to play in.
Yep.
And sticking with that. Don't like do a $3, win $150, and then all of a sudden start spending all that money thinking that you're going to do it again the next week. But
exactly.
The big thing is that, let's say you're even just building 3 lineups, make sure that you don't have a whole lot of overlap. I know a lot of guys like to go with core 4s and they'll switch out like 2 guys in there. And when you do that, you're basically putting a 4-person parlay on all 3 of those teams. So yes, if those 4 guys do good, now you have 2 other teams or 3 other teams that 2 guys could do well. So yeah, I mean, you're not really getting yourself to any advantage where there's 60 guys, 65 plus guys that make the cut. You can easily build 3 lineups that might have 1 or 2 guys that overlap that you really like. Okay. Typically when I do overlap, more often than not, it'll be down in that bottom range where I find a value that I like that allows me to, get other guys in there. So I am also not a big fan of going all in on anybody. Like if I'm doing 20 lineups, same thing. It's like but again, I'm looking for a good chance to have something to root for on Sunday. You could go for all the monies, and if you're going to go 100% DJ, just go put a whatever your thing is at 6-1 on him to win. And you're more likely to win 6-1 on that than you are to win 6 times your entries in DraftKings
usually.
So
well, what's next for Fantasy National? Do you have are you going to do anything during the downtime to change your site? Or are you taking advantage of this moment, or what?
Yeah, absolutely. I just posted out kind of a teaser screenshot. I'm kind of playing around with the whole new way to display the information right now. When you get to the site, it's a huge table format, which I think the hardcore guys who are used to that think that's really nice. They're used, it's clean, it's easy, you can sort it any way you want. But I also want to make it like when people are new to the place, they don't come in there and go, oh, this is scary stuff. So, and then part of doing that, it's redoing the whole back end of it so that I'll be able to have more stats, more filters, make it easier to build models. And I'm going to make the models a little bit more reflective of what you're going for, if that makes sense. Cool. So right now our models are built off, we rank each player in the field from 1 to like 155. And you set your weights, and based on what their rank is, that's how it kind of comes out there. Well, we're kind of moving it to this 10-point scale where the guy who's gained the most strokes is a 10. And then the other guy, the guy who might be ranked 5th, is still like a 9.5.
Gotcha.
Instead,
because 5th seems bad, but it's really not. I mean, the variance is so small.
Right, exactly. And then there's times where the difference between 1st and 25th is like minuscule. Or there's times where the difference between 5th and 6th is huge.
Okay.
So this will kind of, help with that.
Cool.
But yeah, so I mean, really that's what I've been kind of working on. It's doing a lot of the boring stuff in the back end, and in doing some of that boring stuff on the back end, it's like, oh, now I can do some really cool stuff here. So cool. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. And then Fantasy Nassau too. I've been kind of working with that too.
Yeah, I saw that. That's so you run a. I mean, you're a website builder or whatever, so you just built a website for this game?
Yeah, so on Nice Shot Pods, we were just looking for a way to like talk about golfers, and we wanted to kind of have it a team game. So we decided that each week we'd pair up with each other, like you're playing golf, Nassau on the golf course, so it's 4-ball. So let's say I'm partners with Paul this week. We each pick a guy, and then our opponents pick a guy, and then we line up the scores and have hole-by-hole match play for Nassau. So there's a point for the front, point for the back, point for the total. Over 4 rounds, 12 points possible.
Okay.
And we're like, this is a lot of fun because it takes this 150-person field and condenses it down to 4 guys. They're all going off at different times too. So then as the later guys come down, you're like, oh, I need this guy to make a birdie on 8 to have the 9 or to win the match or whatever. So as opposed, it's simple like one and done, but with one and done, if your guy's out of contention on Saturday, he's like 48th, it's not a whole lot to root for. But this, as long as your guy's there or your partner has a guy that's there, you've still got something to root for, and it's a lot of fun. So we're kind of trying to make it.
It's a team thing, because like most DFS stuff is just an individual game, and you're not pairing with like a friend to do a contest, right?
Right, and that's what makes it so much fun too. So it's not like a DFS game where we're going to have like daily options anytime soon. This is more kind of a throwback to fantasy football where you have a matchup each week, but then the fact that you've got a teammate and a partner, this is meant not to go play with a bunch of randoms. This is meant to play with, the 3 guys you like to play golf with. But by having 4 guys and 2 on each team, the trash talking is so much better. If we're just playing fantasy football one-on-one, and I'm like, oh, your team sucks, you're like, yeah, my team sucks.
Yeah, exactly.
It's kind of dumb, but then all of a sudden, you can start, bantering back and forth, and then, well, last week I carried your ass when you picked, Keegan Brad.
I missed the cut. Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's just so much more fun. And then so we'll like on the side say, okay, we're going to play for $5 a point this week. So the max you could really lose is $60 if you got swept. But most of the time the matches end up like 8-4 or 5-3. There's probably a bunch of halves, but
sure. Cool. All right.
So yeah, if you got friends and golf ever starts back up, I highly recommend people trying that out with their buddies. That everybody loves fantasy golf and everybody loves golf, but we all love fantasy golf and everybody loves golf, but they play fantasy football, but don't play fantasy golf. If you got somebody that's loves golf and you want to kind of get them to dip their toes into fantasy, I think this is the game for them to play.
Now, what is your prediction today? Well, we just heard that they're going to give money to people. I mean, there's still massive shutdowns and closures all over the nation of everything, and we're pretty much in the middle of it.
I don't know. PGA Tour's going to give money to people or the government?
Like the stimulus that Trump.
Okay,
did.
Yeah. Okay,
I guess that was just today because I'm going to post this in a couple weeks or whatever.
Okay. Yeah. No, I just wasn't sure if there was new PGA Tour news I missed.
No, I don't think so.
But
no, are they going to play what's going on? Are they going to play the Masters this year? Do you think?
Yes, I think if any tournament happens, it'll be the Masters. It might go up against football. We still got to see where things are all at that point. I don't know. I don't want to get too much into the politics of it, but it kind of all depends on what we do. I mean, like my theory is that we should have just shut shit down like everywhere for 2 to 3 weeks and just rip the Band-Aid off, done it. It's like I've been in my house for almost 14 days now. I went out once and it's like all these people are walking around like it's normal and like no social distancing. It's like, what the hell have I been doing in my house for 14 days? Why are these people out here?
I don't understand.
Just like the slow burn that like just shut it all down now. It's just businesses are suffering because nobody's going out for a long period of time. Just shut it off for 3 weeks. Say nobody makes payments to anybody on anything, or something like that.
Right.
Just, I don't know, but that's my theory on it.
Yeah.
We've been talking about July would be the soonest we see anything. It's so tough with PGA Tour because it's not like there's like a team plane they can all get on and everybody can be tested and quarantined. Everybody's coming from all over the place. You got the caddies, you got the pins, you got the you can get rid of the spectators, but there's just so many other people involved. Even the volunteers running it, maybe you can get rid of a ton of those volunteers without having spectators, but you're still going to need a bunch of them. And how do you clear them? And I don't know.
What a mess.
Thanks for bumming me out.
Yeah, sorry. Sorry for bringing that up. Anyway. Well, hey, Moose, it's good to talk to you. Maybe we'll have to do this again because we're going to have nothing to do for a few weeks, months.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
love to check it out. So real quick, since I will go back and check this out later, but what were your kind of things? What do you like about Fantasy National? I know you guys are kind of like, we don't know anything. What's your kind of approach with it?
I like the idea of starting my week with it because it gives you just a place to kind of have all of your thoughts a little bit. So we do the like course history and the stuff like that, but my thing, I like to star. I kind of, because I do 21 lineups, 21 names, $21.
Yeah.
That's kind of like my thing, or whatever. But so I need to kind of whittle them down. Yeah, it's dumb. I truly think you could, if you're playing 21 lineups, you could get to like 25 players, and that's a real good number. But like, I like to pare it down. I like a little more risk.
Mm-hmm.
But so
actually, that's another thing too. Is I'm typically a 14 to 25. Is where I've got in terms of my player pool.
Yeah, it depends on the week or whatever. But
yep, absolutely.
And then I'm like forcing myself to whittle names down because I'm into this like shtick of 21 names, even though I like 24 or I only like.
Yeah.
But anyway, it doesn't matter. So
it's good to have like some. I mean, that's the other thing too. Is just if you throw 35 players in, you're just going to be matching the field in terms of ownership. If you're playing only 21 lineups or 20 lineups, if you only have a guy on one lineup, what's the point? Right. If you don't really think that he's good enough to put him in more than one lineup, don't put him in the one. So
right, yeah.
Dude,
your site has like
kind of the starting place.
I'm a person that likes short-term form as well as long-term form, so you can weight those things on your site where you can look back in almost 2 years, and I think that's enough data for a long-term view. And then I like the 12 rounds, but then the last 3 or 6, not as much time frame, because a lot of this, it just doesn't really give you any answers. It just kind of is more fun, and then it makes you feel more confident in your clicks. In-game stats.
Kendo VT, he had a great quote one time about the site. He's like, what Fantasy National does is it answers questions that you didn't know you had. You get there and you're just kind of looking, you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't even think about this. To me, it's not a, hey, you join our site, you're going to make money. It's all about research, quality research. You're never more than 2 clicks away from looking at data that nobody else is looking at because it's so customizable. And once you get used to it, you can put together solid lineups in 10 minutes and build 20 lineups and be done. Like there's weekends where it's like Wednesday, I'm like, oh shoot, I got to get lineups in. Go into my office, spend 10 minutes. Like you said, go check out the course breakdown, favorite couple players, check out ownership, boom, you're done in 2 minutes. So, I like to push it as like a savings of time too, but there's also just, you can easily get an edge. You can put as much or as little time into Fantasy National when you're building your lineups, and that's what I really like.
Exactly. I spend hours on it or minutes in either weeks. I don't really do any better or worse, but it's like, whatever. It's helpful. And it gives people like us, content creators, stuff to talk about too. So that's helpful.
Awesome. Yeah.
But hey, what about the secret room? Is it going to become not so secretive anymore? I love the secret room because, well, am I allowed to talk? Because it gives you so much about you. It's specific to you, your lineup. So like, do you want to talk about this or not?
Yes. Yeah. No. So the secret room, I'm not going to tell people where it is, but, the secret room is where you can go in, and if you want to load up DraftKings contests you're in, we're pulling in the information, we're rescoring that, and we're showing you what your cut percentage is versus the field's cut percentage. You can see which players on the golf course are on lineups that are doing better than you, so you know who to root against, where your guys are standing. But the reason it's still kind of a secret room is I don't know that I'm really supposed to be using that data, so I don't want to I don't know that it's ever going to go away. You know what I mean? So like, it's just kind of like, I don't want people to go, I joined because of the secret room. It's like, no, you didn't. You didn't even know it was there. You stumbled on it. So,
I get you. No, I just like knowing like, holy crap, I got a couple 6-of-6 possibilities here, and you kind of can play along live. So that's fun.
Yeah.
Knowing you have no 6-of-6s, and then you just like,
right. Well, yeah. Well, then you can just stop checking it out, and you can go back to quarantine. Right. But that was just kind of like, I had an idea, and I'd like to keep building it out. I'm just kind of, as I get time, like right now, because it's not something I'm trying to push to like get people to join. Like, I'm like, let's work on the important stuff for now, and kind of made the secret room a while back. It works good enough for the people that work, go there. I'd probably need to do some stuff to make it. Yeah, I think that if all of our members showed up on Thursday or Friday too, the site might come to a crashing halt. So, but again, like, maybe 15% of the people know about it,
So if I don't have an access and I haven't signed up to Fantasy National, what should I do, Moose? How do I get a sign
videos? Up? Well, you can just go to fantasynational.com. There's a big thing that says start your free trial. You can do that. And then the first thing I do is go up to, there's a thing that says demos or demo videos in the top right. Check that out. Pat Mayo put those together. He's my partner on the site also, by the way. There's like 8 to 10 3-minute videos that just go into each feature of the site, because there is a lot when you first get there. Once you know where the stuff is and how it works, it's super simple, but the discoverability piece is there. And then we also have some longer videos with Pat, with guys like Josh ADHD and other, and some of the tour junkies, where we take a deep dive into the site.
And we're chill. We're open to conversation. So if you get onto the site and you have a question or you're confused, DM me, DM Moose. We'll
DM
help
Fantasy National. DM Fantasy National. I got like so many Twitter accounts, but like, yeah, I got the Moosenomics, Fantasy National, and Nice Shot Pods. So
right. Well, all right. Go follow all of those accounts on Twitter and sign up for Fantasy National when golf comes back. Right.
Or do it now and check it out.
Oh, that too, for sure.
And then stick around.
Thanks for joining me, dude.
Thanks so much. Sorry for being late.
Whatever, dude. It's all good. This is no time frame. This is just for fun. We're not taking ourselves seriously. I don't even know if anyone will actually watch this. But at the same time, I really do appreciate you. I appreciate your site. It's giving us fun, adding to our fun. It's like I said before, it's like a paraphernalia to our DFS drug. It's great.
Nice.
So you're the man, Moose. Appreciate talking.
Thanks so much. Yeah.
Talk to you later.